Made all over the world, enjoyed by millions, but still mysterious to many.
Including us.
Oh, my God.
I'm Matthew Goode.
And I'm Matthew Rhys. You might be wondering what two actors are doing on a show about wine.
I've always loved that sound. Glass of giggles. And then maybe a cleansing ale.
Well, we're going to be looking behind the labels on all kinds of bottles.
Is there a dry finish on it?
Yeah, it is dry.
I quite like
Well,
it.
okay.
So do I.
Oh,
What?
From the wine we enjoy every day with our dinner to the really, really fine stuff.
This is well over £100.
I'm all right.
We'll be exploring stories that not only tell us about wine, but the world we live in today.
It's about weather, soil, grapes, and people.
We're going to show you there's a wine out there for everyone, and trying something different is the best way to understand more about this marvelous drink.
Knock me down with a feather.
Indian rosé.
Wow.
But we're not doing it alone. Our team of wine experts has traveled to 11 countries on 5 continents to bring back the best and most interesting wines.
I'm not sure if this is sort of genius or just bizarre.
Here, to our villa, high in the Italian hills.
Where have you been, Maestro?
I've been to Chile. It was very interesting. We've got 2 fascinating wines.
And we're getting out and about ourselves.
This isn't right.
It is right, it's just you haven't worked it. You don't speak Italian.
Make her speak English.
We're taking a trip across Italy, choosing wines that reflect the spirit of this most beautiful country.
Made your choice?
I've made my choice, but I'm not going anywhere for a bit. I'm going to just luxuriate in it for a second.
In this episode, Joe Fattorini sacrifices some much-needed beauty sleep on a South African adventure.
Matt, why have you brought me out here at 4 in the morning?
Mississippi-born chef Brad McDonald tells us about his love affair with Burgundy.
Why I love this wine so much is purely based on emotional memory.
Amelia Singer and Joe Fattorini travel to opposite ends of the world for a crash course in winemaking.
It's like quicksand, but for grapes.
And we head to Montepulciano in search of a noble wine and roll out some rather vigorous barrel-based exercise.
Wait.
So, if you've ever wanted to know more, or just feel like joining us on our wine-filled adventure,
Do stay with us at our fun-packed Italian tower of wine, because this is The Wine Show.
So how does it work? A different country each time and a different wine he brings back for us to taste?
Yeah, he's a bit of a genius. He brings back lovely wines, and we should be very grateful.
Dream job.
Yeah, I know. He's got a better one, especially if you like air miles.
True.
Speaking of which,
Here he is.
Joe,
Our intrepid wine expert.
where have you been?
I've been to South Africa.
Inform us.
This is Van de Constance, one of the great historic wines of the world. And it's delicious and sweet and...
Uh-oh.
You're not a fan of sweet wine?
I'd like to say it was the best of times. Sadly, for me, that will be the worst of times.
I hear this. People say, oh, I don't like sweet wines, but it's often because they've had the wrong ones. I'm going to try and persuade you with one of the great historic wines of the world.
Well, I'm terribly excited because I like sweet wine, but before we get to taste them, let's find out what Joe got up to at the birthplace of South African wine, Company Gardens, Cape Town.
Occasionally, there's a wine so steeped in history that when you taste it in a very real sense, you can actually taste the past. And Van de Constance, or Constantia, is one of those very rare wines. It has a story that spans centuries, and it involves fame and disease and death and eventual rebirth. And it's a story that begins here in Company Gardens, the birthplace of South African wine. Now a public park in the centre of Cape Town, it was once a farm irrigated by the natural springs that rise on Table Mountain. The first European settlers left their wives and families at home, but they did bring their vines, and it was here in 1655 where the first vines were planted. There's a famous diary entry 4 years later that says, "Today, praise be to God, for the first wines were made from Cape grapes." In 1679, Simon van der Stel, commander of the Cape Colony, set about creating the first vineyard in South Africa. He called it Constantia. Van der Stel created a wine that for the next 200 years was one of the most sought after in the world. In the 19th century, A combination of fashion, diseases and taxation killed off what had been the most famous sweet wine in the world. And for more than 100 years, Van de Constance existed as nothing more than a memory. Then in 1986, it was recreated, but it emerged into a very different South Africa. This wasn't a country that didn't want to sell wine to the rest of the world. It was a country that couldn't. UN sanctions and the anti-apartheid movement largely saw the world shun South African wine. It wasn't until the first democratic elections in 1994 that there was a serious market for Van de Constance again. History shapes all wines to a degree, but there can't be many that are as entwined with the story of a country as Van de Constance is with South Africa. I'm incredibly excited to come along to the famous wine region of Constantia, where this wine's had a remarkable revival. What I'm less excited about, and you might be wondering, is why I have to come here at 4 o'clock in the morning. The grapes that make Van de Constance are harvested here on the Klein Constantia estate in late February. But I'm still none the wiser as to why winemaker Matt Day has arranged to meet me at this ungodly hour. Matt, why have you brought me out here at 4 in the morning?
So we can get this beautiful grapes in as soon as possible. We're trying to keep everything nice and cold.
Yeah?
Use the freshness of the morning to preserve the fruit itself.
And how does that make a difference when you get the wine, well, the grapes into the winery?
Well, we only have one chance every year to do this, and we want to respect the fruit. So by keeping it nice and cold, it slows down all those metabolic actions.
And do you have to get up every morning at 4?
Every morning, but I love it. One thing we haven't seen yet is the sunrise. It makes it all special and all worth it. So.
And it sort of feels rather surreal with all these head torches popping
Absolutely
around.
awesome,
Everyone
yeah.
chatting away. There's an intensity to the picker's process here that requires serious concentration.
At the moment, they're going bunch by bunch, and they're looking for that perfectly raisined
that
berry.
Sort of thing there.
That's pretty much it. And they'll literally take this one berry off, put it into their container, and they'll go to the next bunch. Literally, they'll go through this block constantly. As soon as they finish, they kind of start again. But we want that perfection when it comes to making this wine.
It's an extraordinary process. Presumably, this is exactly the way people did it 200 years ago.
For sure.
Hello.
Joe, this is Fleurs.
Fleurs, nice to meet you. Now then, so Fleurs is picking here.
Yeah.
Which ones is he going for?
Look, this is actually a beautiful bunch.
This is amazing. I'm going to have a go at something like this. Even when I'm picking this, I mean, they're fully intact grapes, aren't they?
For sure. Have you tasted any of these yet?
Am I allowed?
Yeah, you're welcome to.
Right. I mean, they're so precious. I did like a raisin.
Yeah, but you get that very intense muscady character.
That is beautifully sweet.
That is the heart and soul behind Van de Constance.
The evidence of history is everywhere, in the vines, the grapes, and the winery itself. Here to guide me through this is Hans Astrom, the managing director of Klein Constantia. Van de Constance is renowned for having a celebrity following. Both Jane Austen and Charles Dickens were great fans, often writing about the wine. The most notable figure in history to enjoy this wine was Napoleon Bonaparte. It's said the winery eased the misery of exile by shipping 30 bottles a month to St. Helena from 1815 until his death in 1821. Who are your favourite figures from history who've enjoyed this? You're not allowed Napoleon. We know that he enjoyed it.
I mean, Casanova brought a lot about Van de Constance, which I think is quite interesting.
He's my now immediate favourite person who enjoyed it.
And we actually think that the wines we make today are very close in terms of style and taste as the wines that were made in the 18th century.
Can we have a try of some?
Absolutely.
Pour you some, yeah.
This is the bit I'm really excited about.
So this is the 2009 Vinda Constance.
I think it's just an amazing colour straight away. Actually, I'm sitting in St Helena being very depressed about losing the Battle of Waterloo at the moment, you know.
That's why I was 30 bottles a month.
When I can imagine how that cheered him up. It is great wine, isn't it?
Well, I can maybe introduce you a little bit to history. Sadly, I can't give you a bottle of the vintage because we haven't got many, but you for sure will be drinking some history.
Well, even from here, I can tell it's very dark. This is something seriously old.
This is the iconic 1791.
1791?
Yeah.
I mean, this is Napoleon at his most powerful. He's sort of
Europe is
his
in
way
war.
through
Europe is in war. You know, it's actually the period when the Dutch, the Orange family, goes to the King George III. It's all yours.
It's amazingly concentrated. It's very similar. This has been the most amazing tasting that I have had. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure.
What an incredible day. To arrive at 4 o'clock in the morning and pick the finest Muscat grapes in Africa, recreating an astonishing historic wine. I try it and you get this window into history where I can drink the wine that people have enjoyed for hundreds of years. And then to sum it all up, I actually get to try a wine that is itself history. A bottle that really shouldn't have survived and has lasted well over 200 years. A wine that probably did cheer somebody up when Mozart died. That's something I will never experience again and that's going to stay with me forever.
Well, let's try the Van de Constance then, because I can't wait any longer.
So this is a 2009.
Look at the colour, beautiful.
The nice thing for you guys is not only are you going to try stylistically the same wine,
Yes.
but of course I love that it comes in the same bottle.
And you said that they were very, you know, it's not moved along that far. I mean, the tradition is exactly the same, so the tastes are going to be...
As far as we know, this long period, this long break in its history...
You're going to be okay?
...made it very difficult to know that we're exactly the same, but they said everything they've done suggests that this is the wine they made. Are you liking it?
Do you know, I hate to say it.
Go on.
I am. It's not like being bludgeoned over the head by a bag of Tate and Lyle.
I like that, and I'm really glad you like that. I really am.
I'm going to give you something that's a little bit different. It is still a fantastic South African pudding wine.
Pudding wine.
This is Rustenburg's straw wine from 2011. This is made by a different process. The grapes are taken off the vine and then dried on straw mats to concentrate them. And when you have a...
Like raisins, like you make a raisin.
Have a smell and a taste.
Oh, it's thick.
It's thick, but it doesn't linger in quite the same way, does it?
No, it's very light.
I really like it. Very different.
It is very different, but you've been true to your word. I've been incredibly, pleasantly surprised by that clear wine.
Look, if somebody wanted to have more ideas about how to enjoy these wines, you should go to our website.
Well done, Joe. Very good. I have to say, my favourite, Constance.
Still to come, Mr. Rhys and I head off in search of Italy's most noble wines.
Amelia Singer learns that winemaking isn't all glamorous.
And Rhys comes up with an alternative use for a wine stopper.
I think I have it.
You've got it.
And there it is. There it is. Bow forward. Ta-da!
Where there's wine, there's a gadget. Whether it's cooling, pouring, or opening, someone has tried to find a way to give us the best glass of wine possible.
But which gadgets are great and which are good for nothing?
I love wine. I love you. I love Matthew Goode. I love being in Italy. However, this is the segment I'm the most excited about.
Why is that?
Gadgets.
Well, obviously, wine lends itself to some fantastic toys. So we have toys here, all with one purpose. You know that thing where you've only just drunk a couple of glasses of wine and you think, I'll save the bottle for 2 days later?
Nope, not really. But that's fine.
I've heard about those.
There are people out there like that.
I knew one once.
Imagine that thing happened, theoretically.
Yes.
We have some gadgets here that help you out, because the great enemy of wine in that circumstance is oxygen. So here's our bottle. It's a Crozet Hermitage.
Nice, very nice.
This is the simple solution. You may have seen this.
I've seen one of these before. I've never seen it in use.
Put in the plug there. Now, I'm going to ask you to do this. I want you to pump out the gas.
Go on, Rhys.
Get out, get out, get out.
Good.
And then what? Just comes... Oh, well done.
So that now has very little oxygen in
Very
it,
little.
so it's not interacting with the wine, it'll stay preserved. The best thing you can do, put that in the fridge. And this will extend the life of it, maybe even up to 10 days.
Well, that's amazing.
And so that will keep it reasonably fresh. You take it out, maybe from the fridge in 3 days' time. We let it warm up gently, and listen.
Oh, very nice.
You're like a vino Q to our quaffing bonds.
Well,
I do have one of these, and they're lot hours of fun. You do things like this. I hope you don't mind. It only takes one small pump. Tell me when. I think I have it.
You've got it.
And there it is. There it is. Bow forward. Ta-da!
But I will have a red mark.
Yeah, take it off.
Oh!
Look, will you concentrate? You mentioned
What is
Bond
this?
and
This
Q.
is a gadget.
This is a caravan.
Oh, I had many a weekend in that.
Right, okay, so explain what you're doing.
This device,
Oh, Lord.
it replaces the air inside with argon. It's an inert gas, a noble gas,
Yes.
into this arm here. Now, quickly, I have to squeeze that on so that it
Vigorous.
pierces it. Now, I've got to be safe here.
Always.
So I'm taking this special sleeve.
I've got to read it because I found these. I couldn't help it myself. A damaged or flawed wine bottle can break when pressurized with Coravin system. To prevent the risk of lacerations from broken glass, always use a Coravin wine bottle sleeve.
What's this made of? Kevlar?
It's a bulletproof vest for wine. Here, there's a needle.
Oh, blooming Nora.
That's vicious. What I shall do...
Oh, my
if you can
word.
help me,
You hold it, Rhys.
clamp that on there, and then drive that in.
Well done.
Like that.
Like a prop forward.
So here we go. And what I do, I simply depress the lever.
Oh, come on.
That puts some argon in the wine,
And then it forces out a bit of liquors.
and it forces out a little bit of wine.
I have one very simple question.
Go on.
Why?
It's true. And how much?
This is not cheap. This is more than £300.
What?
But think, if you are a generous host and you have just one friend round and you say, let's drink amazing white wine for our first course, amazing red wine for our second, this allows you to be more generous than if you just said, I'll have a middling bottle of rosé across the entire meal.
I've got a better idea. Spend £300 on amazing wine, get your friend over, and he'll thank you for life.
Yeah.
I can tell we're not going to agree, so I would suggest if anyone is interested in discussing the merits of these devices, you can always join in at our Twitter account,
Good
which
idea.
is @WineShowTV.
That could get quite tasty on Twitter.
Stop playing. Stop it. Just you children.
Sorry, Joe. Gadgets down. Now, food and wine. When we're thinking about what to drink, we generally choose the wine after we've decided what we're going to eat. But here on The Wine Show, we like to mix it up. We're asking some of the world's greatest chefs to reverse the idea. First, they're picking their favorite wine. Then, they're planning a dish to match it. I'm curious to know what Matthew and Joe would like to eat with the red wine chosen by today's chef.
Our chef from the deep southern states of the United States has chosen a red Burgundy. Hooray! For his pairing.
Nuit Saint-Georges.
Bottled by Jean Bourguignon. You know, sorry, yes. His mother was Jean.
This is lovely. Look at that.
It's lovely and
I get excited about the colour of a bottle of Burgundy.
You should.
Ah.
This Burgundy has one of those beautiful colours that you can look through, so it's not opaque.
God, it's beautiful.
You get lots of grades of colour. It's from Nuit Saint-Georges, which is right in the middle of Burgundy, at the bottom end of the Côte de Nuit. Famous as a village, it has no Grand Crus, although it should, but it does have a crater on the moon.
What?
What do you mean?
They
named a crater on the moon because Jules Verne travels there and he opens a bottle of Nuit, well, his character opens a bottle of Nuit Saint-Georges, so they have Crater Nuit on the moon.
Good knowledge. Good grief.
Are they annoyed they don't have a Grand Cru?
Slightly, but the man who invented all the Grand Crus came from Nuit Saint-Georges, so he didn't feel he could give one to his own village. But they make these beautiful, quite rustic, raspberry-scented wines, often with a bit of cherry and blackcurrant.
Where would your rustic palate take you with this Burgundy?
I would be resolutely French with something like this. I think a classic French dish, something almost slightly sort of...
Cassoulet?
Well, yes, maybe not quite full cassoulet. I don't know if it's got the acidity to carry that.
Do you know what? I might like to have this as a hello, gonna have a big meal here, starter, and just something very simple like sausages with bacon wrapped around them. Bang.
Well, let's see if our chef today, Brad McDonald, did indeed choose sausages wrapped in bacon or not. as we travel to his Lockhart restaurant in London.
My name is Brad McDonald, executive chef here at the Lockhart in Seymour Place in Marylebone in London, and we cook Southern food. I grew up in a small town, Yazoo City, Mississippi, which is just on the edge of the Delta. I think that's influenced how I cook. There's a sensibility towards comfort and simplicity. Here at the Lockhart, we cook Southern food through a British lens. And basically, that means is that we cook with a Southern inflection wherever possible, but we try to use British ingredients. I started drinking wine in college. I just started going to the local liquor store and trying different grapes to teach myself as much as possible about wine. The wine list we have here at the Lockhart is predominantly American. I love big, chewy American wines, and I love light and elegant American wines. But I fell in love with food because I was a Francophile. So I've chosen Nuits Saint-Georges as my desert island wine. Why I love this wine so much is purely based on emotional memory. When I first left university, I wanted to cook in France. And so I went there to be an English teaching assistant, and my job was in Nuits Saint-Georges. When I first arrived, I was received with a bottle of Nuits Saint-Georges and, you know, a block of Comté and some beautiful dark chocolate. And that was sort of my first dinner in France, if you will. Pinot Noir is a soft grape that's low in tannins. It pairs really well with lean, gamey meats. Today we're gonna cook venison with persimmons and red-eye gravy. Venison's a very important meat to me, mostly because I grew up as a hunter. We ate venison all year round. Just going for a little bit of brown color on the outside. Those deer fed on wild persimmons. And naturally, what grows together goes together. It requires an understanding to allow them to over-ripen. What you might even think is almost rotten is when they're actually at their peak of sweetness and juiciness to eat. Red-eye gravy is a traditional breakfast of a slice of ham fried in a pan, a cup of coffee poured over the top, coffee-infused venison stock. And it's really rich and luxurious. We've taken that and turned that into a sauce. Now we're infusing the ham flavor into the coffee stock. The meat comes out of the oven, just pulling the meat out, allowing it to rest before plating the dish. That's a really lovely wine. The flavor of the meat, the gaminess of the red deer just cuts perfectly with the fruit of the wine. I think wine's very important to the entire dining experience. I mean, you can have fantastic food, but the ability to drink something with it that complements the food is really important to the dining experience. It can take it to another level.
Still to come, we find out we need to spend less time drinking wine and more time at the gym.
And we make Amelia Singer change her clothes in an outback lavatory. Italy, a place where food and wine dominate life like no other nation on earth.
But in a country with 350 wine varieties and even more type of grape, just where did two novices start?
We're looking to our mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Joe Fattorini, for help.
He's creating a trip across Italy so we can learn a little about this country's best wines.
But sending us to the nearest bottle shop is just not his style.
Yes, I've a feeling this is going to be more than just a jaunt through the Italian countryside.
This is the wine showcase. It's currently empty. Your job is to fill it with 12 wines. Each wine will represent one aspect of the spirit of Italy. A question. What do the names Machiavelli, Vespucci, Frescobaldi, Medici mean to you?
Pizza toppings. Sorry. Idiot.
They are the noble families of Italy.
Yes.
I'm sending you to Montepulciano, and whilst you're there, I want you to find a wine that truly represents the spirit of Italy's noble families and traditions. What are you waiting for?
Sorry.
The town of Montepulciano is a 2-hour drive north from our HQ in Umbria. Our challenge? To find a wine that reflects nobility and tradition.
A medieval hilltop town, it was once the fiefdom of the most noble of families, the Medicis. So we're definitely on the right track.
Medieval town on a hilltop. Advantages? Spotting enemy intruders from a ways away off. And a great view with your wine, I guess.
Yeah. But more importantly for us, they've been growing grapes in this region since 780 AD. Their wine is so aristocratic, it's called the Vino Nobile, the noble wine.
Before we get down to tasting, however, it would seem we've arrived on the morning of a traditional annual event, a barrel race.
The whole town turns out to watch teams from 8 contradas, or districts, push 80-kilogram barrels from the bottom of the town to the top. That's over a mile, as fast as they can.
Preparations and rehearsals are underway for the race, which takes place in the late afternoon.
Giving just enough time to head off and find some wine. Looking around, I think we can safely say Montepulciano satisfies the noble and traditional test for Joe. And I'm looking forward to finding out about the Vino Nobile.
Wine expert Arnaldo Rossi has agreed to meet us. He's picked out some local wines that he thinks may fit the bill.
I select 3 different producers. The first one is Monte Mercurio. Would you like to taste?
Yeah, of course. You won't be able to stop it.
Damo is the Vino Nobile that he made and is dedicated to this grandfather. And is a Montepulciano, but is a blend with about 70% of Prugnolo Gentile, and the rest are the traditional grapes, except Carmenere and Barbera, that are local.
Isn't that nice?
It's very nice.
Very smooth.
It is.
Okay, let's hit number 2.
Yeah, the number 2 is Boscarelli, a family that comes in Montepulciano from Genova, from Liguria. This is 100% Sangiovese. It's a Riserva. It's a Riserva white label means that are made with the old vine. And vintage like 2000.
It is a very dry finish in it. Would that open up a bit?
10 is very powerful, but less hot than 2007.
Yeah.
So here the tannin are more strong, and also the acidity is much more higher.
Yeah. It's not quite as well balanced as the first one, if we're honest, but that's what happens when you have a great year. I do like that first one. Let's go towards the third.
It's made by 2 women, Dora and Patrizia. They really represent the history of Montepulciano.
Oh, you're going to really like that, Rhys. Go on, have a butcher's. Did you worry that it was sweet?
Yes. Initial panic.
I know. It doesn't do that, and you think it's going to be, and it backs off, and it's very dry.
If you like this wine week, we can also go to visit them.
I'd like that very much.
So we're heading out of town.
Dora and Patricia's vineyards were, according to legend, host to some of the most bloody battles fought by the Romans. The ground was so red with blood, it was named Sanguinetto.
This in turn became the name of Dora's family wine. If Joe wants wine that represents tradition, this could be it.
We're in one of the last traditional fields of the Nobile, in a way.
Sia nel modo di trattare la pianta, sia nel modo di produrre il vino. In questa azienda non c'è un enologo fisso o un chimico. C'è semplicemente l'uva fatta bene in vigna che in cantina fermenta e poi invecchia.
I love the authenticity and sense of tradition that these women bring to their winemaking.
Can we try the grape?
Yeah.
We could try the grape. Oh, grazie.
Fagli assaggiare. Yeah, try.
Topolina.
Is tasty, with a good acidity, sweet, not too much sweet.
Wow,
because
that's really sweet. And you think it's going to be? You think it's been a good year?
Pensi che sarà una bella
It
annata.
tastes delicious,
Sì.
my God.
Sì.
Wow.
Yeah.
Back in Montepulciano, the preparations for the barrel race are hotting up.
The crowds are gathering at the top of the town. At the bottom, the 8 teams are on the starting line.
It's like it's a knockout!
The worthy winners of this epic race are from the Poggio Contrada, their first trophy since 1988.
The question we now have to answer is, which of the wines we've tasted are worthy of taking back to Joe?
What has been great is the sense of tradition, which is, you know, is running through their veins in this town. is amazing, and it brings them all together at the end. And now it's going to kick off out there. It's going to go all night long.
I think there's a lot of grape going to be drunk.
There's going to be a lot of grape.
Have you made your decision?
Well, we've seen a lot today. I mean, Dora was extremely persuasive. I did love her wines, and some of the other stuff that we also tasted was very good. I've come to a decision. It's been slightly hard, but it's been inspiring. Have you come to a decision?
I certainly have.
Was it easy?
After seeing that, it was.
But the day isn't quite over. The referee of the race has heard that we are both superb athletes.
And not wishing to disappoint, we decide to show one of the losing pairs exactly how it should be done.
Wait!
Who'd have thought rolling a barrel up a hill could be so tricky?
It's hard. It's the control. Wait, it's the houses up here.
How you feeling?
A little out of breath.
You need some
Wine.
some red wine.
Yeah.
To recover.
But I have a total appreciation of it.
It's like a naughty small child. You're like, ah, no, come on, ah, you know?
Interesting. Why did you choose these wines?
Do you want to go first?
Mine was cheapest.
It's true.
Joke.
Okay, I'll start off. I mean, I chose the Vino Nobile because I was quite inspired by Dora, which is amazing. And although in the strictest sense she didn't represent noble, she is using incredibly traditional grapes and methods, and I just love the taste of it.
And the Boscarelli?
That's how you say it.
Yeah.
Well, apart from loving the taste, it is a classic Nobile made by one of the oldest producers in the area, and I thought a true representation of local tradition.
It's also smashing.
Shall I try them?
Go on.
Yes, go on.
Go
Shall
on.
we open
I
it
think
for
you
you?
like. Do you want us to do it? Oh. He's going with Dora's first. She's smashing. Do you know Dora?
I know of Dora.
You've heard of her. She's fabulous fun.
Not to be confused with the Explorer.
Nope. It's the real tester. He was quite worried. But it's nice to watch a professional at it.
This is delicious wine, isn't it?
It is delicious wine, yeah.
It's very stylish and elegant.
Just like Matthew Goode.
Not like me, like you, Denny.
Lies.
Sans beard.
It's a very nice wine in an innovative and distinctive style.
Okay.
I'm going to try your wine, the Boscarelli.
Good start, eh? Good start.
I like the Boscarelli as well. Look at that colour.
I have a dilemma.
I know dilemma. Lovely boy.
Rhys, you have chosen the more classic and elegant and noble style of wine.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Goode,
Yeah.
you've chosen the more interesting, characterful, innovative, distinctive style of winemaking.
Okay.
Which one truly represents the spirit of the challenge I set out?
I mean, clearly they're both good. That's good. We haven't messed up.
One of these wines is from a noble family. One of these captures the noble traditions of Italy. I'm going to choose the Sanguinetto from Dora.
Oh, sorry. Hey, both winers.
Because I think in 500 years, her family will be one of the noble families of Italy.
Good choice, and you'd love her. She's so amazing.
Perfect. You've done very well.
Oh, it's very ceremonial. Look at that.
Does that mean I get to keep this?
Can you take it out?
Yes.
If you must.
My plan worked.
Still to come, poles apart, Joe and Amelia meet two icons of wine at opposite ends of the earth. And find out why keeping your cap wet is vital to a good bottle of wine.
How can you have one thing made the same way that looks so totally different?
It's like human beings. Look at that. Look at the size of his beard.
He was raised in Exeter.
Yeah, and somewhere near Wales.
This is the joy of wine. They are the same product. And, you know, in many ways, they're made the same way. But everything can change. For everything to stay the same, everything can be different.
Labels are a very interesting, important part of how you sell a wine, but I've never seen one like this. Wines for some young punks. Tell us all about it. Come on.
This is a Clare Valley Riesling from Australia, the other side of the world to Bordeaux. Have a sniff. What we will see is how very different personalities can be embodied in wines. This is funky and fun.
You hit the word right on the head. Fun.
And that's the idea of what we have gone and done this time.
Yeah.
Here we have these two very different things, and the personality of winemakers behind them is embodied in those bottles.
Let's see where we sent Joe and Amelia poles apart to make the same thing.
No matter what wine you drink or where in the world it comes from, the principles of its production remain the same.
But what we love sharing with people is the way in which wine, which has been made the same way for thousands of years, can express itself in so many different ways.
So the producers of the wine show, in their wisdom, decided to send Amelia and me to work our way through that full process. On opposite sides of the world, of course.
I am being dispatched to that most traditional and historic winemaking region, Bordeaux.
And I am being sent all the way to what is still called the New World in wine circles, Australia.
Sébastien Vergne is the technical director at Chateau Margaux. A graduate of the École Nationale Supérieure d'Agronomie de Montpellier, he oversees the production of approximately 300,000 bottles of wine a year, with names such as Pavillon Rouge de Chateau Margaux and Margaux de Chateau Margaux.
Cole McBride is a PhD with a fondness for ink. He describes himself as an incorrigible winemaker, understood only by the yeasts he studied to gain his degree from the University of Adelaide. He oversees a production of approximately 10,000 bottles a year, with names such as the Squid's Fist and Monsters Attack. We've been tasked with being winemakers for the day, and first things first, we need to find somewhere to change into suitable clothes. In my case, the lavatory of a petrol station in the Clare Valley.
While I've been given a room in the artisan's courtyard next to the chateau.
Oh, Joe, no surprises there. Standard wine uniform, red trousers.
And don't start, Daisy Duke.
Some Young Punk's winery can be found in a corrugated iron shed, which it shares with another Clare Valley wine label called Adelina. They've been here in the Spring Farm region of Clare since 2002, and there are just 3 people on the team.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hi, I'm Amelia.
Cole, nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
Chateau Margaux was designed by Louis Combe in the first Empire style and completed in 1812. But they've been making wine on the estate since the 16th century. Today, they have 85 full-time employees.
Bonjour, Sébastien.
Good morning, Joe.
Do you think you're going to be able to teach me how to be a winemaker?
Yes, we can.
Where should we start? Out in the vineyards?
Yes.
So this is the very first stage in winemaking, is just picking the grapes?
Yes, it is. We are in a plant of Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
Very young parcels. Today, about 80 pickers do the job. Joe, I think it's your time to
me to have a go.
being a picker of Chateau Margaux. Right. No? So please take some secatos.
So I'm going to take over from... Merci. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to go and start picking into here. You bent over. It's not easy work, is it? You're sort of hunched down and you're on your knees all the time.
Be careful, Joe. Those trousers are a bit snug. Anyway, while it's September with you, down here in the Clare Valley, it's March. The grapes are in and Cole has the winemaking well underway.
So what we're coming into now is the fermentation area. Okay. So we've picked pretty much all of our fruit for vintage. And this area houses red fermenters, which are not only red, but house the grapes, which are red, that are fermented here.
And how long does that last for?
Anywhere between 2 weeks and 60 days. So,
right, OK.
Yeah, for us, like, you know, I'm quite a lazy winemaker, so the longer I can leave things, the more time there is for drinking beer and that kind of thing. So.
And do you need to do anything to them, or do they just sit
there?
Yeah,
no, so like what you do with red ferments is there's many techniques you use to, I guess, macerate the cap. So through fermentation, you get CO2 produced, which lifts the berries up and they form this kind of cap. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to keep that kind of wetted down because, of course, all your colour, a lot of flavour, etc., is in the peripherals of the skin. Mm-hmm. So a very, very important process of red winemaking.
Cole is going to show me one technique for keeping the cap wet, punching down. This is important as it keeps the skins in contact with the juice, vital for the fermentation process.
So yeah, basically, just like that.
Oh, that looks so satisfying.
Indeed it is.
Equally satisfying here, the grapes are coming in their very small boxes so that each can be carefully looked after bunch by bunch.
So tell me, what happens in this machine?
The berries fall into a crusher.
Yeah.
And we crush in a very gentle way. And we add it in a tanklet.
Yeah.
And into this tanklet, we put some dry ice. The goal is just to go down temperature and to protect berries against oxidation, you know.
It's very mysterious. It's like a witch's broom.
After their gentle crushing and a bath in dry ice, the small tanks, or cuvons, are taken into the winery where the grapes are moved into their new home in the finest French oak.
Cole's Aussie grapes are perfectly happy in more humble surroundings, as am I.
It's like quicksand, but for grapes.
Good to see Cole is keeping you on your toes there, Amelia.
I like to work in a grid fashion so that, you know, you're working sequentially.
As opposed to just, like, erratically plunging.
Yeah, like random, you know, randomness is great.
Here at Margaux, things are very shiny. Instead of punching down, we pump over.
What's the French name for pumping up?
This is what we call a remontage.
Remontage.
And some highly specialised machinery does most of the hard work.
This is the smartest pump I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, don't strain yourself, Joe. That tap looks quite stiff.
Whoa. That smells really nice, doesn't it?
When one is in charge of wine flowing at 1,000 euros a second, one has to be careful, Amelia.
Are we going to turn this on now?
Yeah.
Oh, here it goes.
but very easy. And at the end...
How long will each remontage take?
It takes about 1 hour.
And how often do you do this every day?
During the first step of alcoholic fermentation, we do it twice a day.
Twice a day, Joe? You might need a lie down. Back in the Clare Valley, once the wine has finished fermenting in the tanks, it's time to move on to the next stage, clarification.
So then what happens to these grapes once after the 2 to 6 weeks or whatever pumping? Where do they go?
So what we'll do then is we'll press them into a tank, like a stainless steel tank, and we'll let them settle, the wine settle.
The settling process Cole is describing is one of the methods used in clarification.
So there'll be some solids that'll form, and it settles. It's called lees, which is quite a dense kind of, it's a liquid still. And then we'll rack the clear wine off the top of the lees. So that's
And you want to do that because you don't want to have basically solid bits of lees in your wine.
Yeah.
Cole ages his wine in steel tanks and finishes in barrels.
Things are on a slightly larger scale here at Margaux. The cellar here holds 1,500 barrels of wine, each of which holds 288 bottles. Sebastien has graciously offered to share a bottle with me.
I propose you today the 2005, which in Chateau Margaux is considered to be a very, very, very good vintage. You know, tremendous one.
Underneath, through that hole?
Yeah.
To think I wasn't old enough to drink when that was put into a bottle, Joe.
God, it's really small in here.
Here in Australia, Cole has graciously offered to share one of the more important tasks with me, sterilising the crusher.
It's in our hands.
So, wait, what about going on my stomach?
Yeah, you could give that a crack too. Why not? There's no convention here. Scrub away. Give me a yell if you run into trouble.
Okay. This is much more Joe's kind of thing. Ugh.
No, this is much more my kind of thing.
I have wanted to try this for a very long time. It is inky dark, isn't it?
Yeah, the colour is...
Oh, that is lovely.
It's the first time I've tasted the 2005 Margaux, and with one London retailer selling it for £800 a bottle, I doubt I'll be having it again anytime soon.
This is a piece of heaven.
Well, that is a lovely way to end a day's very hard work in a winery.
Hard work? You don't know the meaning of it. Cole has offered to take me to try a glass of his wine in downtown Adelaide.
What wine should I order tonight?
Tonight, well, they've got Passion has red lips by the glass here, so maybe you can grab a glass of that.
Did Cole say that his wine is called Passion Has Red Lips? What is the world coming to?
Well, cheers to a really fun, interesting, tiring day. It was a great day.
Cheers, so you're prepped for tomorrow then?
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
Isn't it wonderful how it can capture personality differences? Bordeaux is the epitome of old school, you know, jolly nice bloke kind of winemaking. And you get these two completely different wines that express that personality. Here we have Chateau Gloria. This is actually absolutely à point. It's on song.
Chateau Glorious, yeah, fantastic.
Talking about wine as just being crushed grapes is a bit like talking about writing as just a jumble of words.
Just words, isn't it?
Actually, you can craft it into all sorts of utterly beautiful things. And I hope people will ask us about both these wines and tell us what they think through Twitter, @WineShowTV. But there is information about Sauvignon Punk's Riesling, Chateau Gloria, and lots of other wines from around the world on our website.
These wines, frankly, all varieties, are like music. Speaking of which, from the rock and roll to the slightly camp, left bank, French jazz. Join us next time to see what beats we're going to be serving up on The Wine Show. Beautiful, beautiful. Ow! Oh! My jaw! Oh, God, that was so intense. Still rolling. Ah! Lens monkeys. Get them back in the cage!